Hi, this is Little Dwarf playing games while rambling incoherently into a microphone. Why? Well, just because I can, and I continue with Vampire the Masquerade, Redemption, Blind. Now, last time I defeated Count Orsi, and those are his daughters, so presumably they will want to avenge him or something?
Where is Vukodlak?
That we cannot tell you.
What?
Do not tell them, sisters. The fiend is below the blackened church to the north. There you'll find him, below, in his Cathedral of Flesh. Little good this will do you now, as he arises in but a few moments.
Okay, so apparently they don't want to fight me. But it was pretty weird how the game gave me an option. It was pretty weird how the game gave me an option to threaten them, but it didn't actually have a voice line for that. So there was just the words "threaten them" in parentheses. Okay, let's go into the Cathedral of Flesh and end it. I wonder how large of a place it's going to be, how many levels will it have. Well, I presume at least 3, right? It's the final dungeon of the game. I'm not entirely thrilled about that, but what can I do? Okay, at this point, I literally do not care about the additional disciplines or whatnot. Nor do I really care about gold and the like. Okay, so this seems to be the way forward. I thought, you know, the main chamber with the altar would be where I was supposed to go, but apparently not, so let's check it out. Well, I guess first of all there is no altar in here, and second, this seems to kind of loop to the same place. Okay. Okay, might be screwed. Apparently I survived having my head bitten off. Okay. I'm not going to complain too hard about that. Hmm, 10, 30, 10. Okay, so it's a little bit better. But let me save actually, because if I died now, it would be pretty annoying. Cathedral bowels locked. I presume I'm supposed to travel here last, after I accomplish whatever else I'm supposed to accomplish in the other levels. Oh, that's Libussa, the servant of Vukodlak.
The Master has awoken! Death comes to you all!
Okay, she wasn't particularly talkative. There's a chest made out of a skeleton. Oh, that's creative, if nothing else. There have actually been, prominent examples in real life of furniture made out of human remains. Most famously, probably, by a serial killer by the name of Ed Gein, who seemed, I think he was an inspiration to the whole Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise, because he made like chairs out of human bones, and actually he made a lampshade out of human skin as well, for example. I'm going to post some pictures in the description, but obviously viewer discretion is advised, because it's pretty disturbing for some people. Okay, another Vorsh. Let me save, because last time I only barely survived, so might not be as happy this time. I mean, as lucky this time. Okay, it was not bad. I don't care about the jewelry at this point. I doubt I will even have a chance to... I guess this is Anezka. And this must be Vukodlak then. Well, I presume they are going to flee deeper into the cathedral, because obviously it's only level 2. And I saw a place called the Bowels, so...
Enter freely, Christoph. I bid you welcome to my domain. It is fitting that you should be here now. at the beginning of the new age, as you were at the end of the last era.
I shall cause thy fall now, as I did then.
Ah, but then was I not yet arisen? Your untimely intervention set me back nearly a millennium. But I am nothing if not patience. And now, I am omnipotent.
Nay, for we have denied thee Orsi's statue for thy ritual.
I'll live.
We shall stop thee!
It's over, Christoph. I have already risen, with power enough to consume even antediluvians.
No!
But I must extend my gratitude to you, Christoph. My former vessel, Libussa, lacked a certain purity. But Anezka, her virtue bubbles up from so rich a spring that I have been endlessly supplied with purity to defile. I would never have found her without your assistance. You sent her to me, and she has been so loyal and willing a servant to me over these long eons. I shall now embrace her, and she will rule with me over the cattle of humanity for all time.
Nay! Anezka is not thine! She serves thee not. She sent a summons to awaken me from torpor.
Is this true, Anezka?
Dear master, please allow me to split Christoph's joints and fleshcraft his bones into a throne for thy glory.
Monster! I'll destroy thee!
I have a better idea. Serve me.
I know thou art wicked, but I never thought thee a fool.
Serve me. You don't really have any love for the antediluvians, do you? The day of Gehenna is coming, and they intend to consume you, and Wilhelm, and Lily, and all other vampires. I will prevent that. I will give you eternity, life everlasting. We will greet the awakening grandsires with another flood, a deluge of their own blood.
One antediluvian is no better than 13. I cannot entrust such power unto any, let alone thee.
Then suppose I gave you your beloved Anezka as well.
What?
Consider this. Even if you could destroy me, which you cannot, you would destroy her as well. Remember, she is my ghoul, and after all these centuries, she is utterly dependent on my blood. If I die, she shatters into thousand-year-old dust. But serve me, and I'll give her to you. What say you?
Nay, I shall fight thee to stop thy mad scheme, even at the cost of my life.
Well, obviously, serving her is serving him is a very stupid idea. But also, regarding Anezka, I guess when push comes to shove, I can embrace her myself, and this way I can save her from dying, presumably.
To the abyss with thee! Ah! To the abyss with thee! Ah! Ah!
Okay, I wasn't expecting that. She's like super bugged, which is annoying because she has all of my scrolls. Okay, this is not great. Let's try that again.
I am weak with... I am weak with lack of precious blood.
Apparently he can drain my blood.
To the abyss with you! To the abyss with thee!
Okay, this is ridiculous. I have like 30 scrolls of resurrection, and I cannot use any of them because she's bugged in some weird way.
I am
Actually, I might try saving in the middle of combat, where I've wounded him a little bit, which seems to be, you know, a bit of headway, and I think all of my party members are still currently alive, so it's a good point to restart from. Yeah, I think it was a good idea to save.
I am weak with lack of precious blood.
Although, you know, I'm pretty sure this is not the end. It's like the first stage of the battle. But still, to even go further, I need to defeat him here.
Little fool! You have no hope of winning!
I have hope beyond hope.
You waste my time. I have no more patience for you. Your skin and bones will add to the walls of my Cathedral of Flesh.
Yeah, so he dropped me. I don't think I can do it. Like, she's utterly bugged. Wilhelm is dead. Well, I guess I have scroll here, so I can try bringing him back at the very least. Okay, let's try rolling with that. Defeating him in the first stage, you know, defeating Vukodlak in that first stage was already difficult enough, so I will try pushing onwards with that result. But I'm pretty sure I will need to fight him again, unless I manage to somehow find a way to defeat him in like a cutscene. Diary speaker. Okay, there are heads in the wall of memory.
I contain the secret thoughts of Anezka.
I am damned. In the holy orders, I once dreamed of the eternity of bliss that would be mine for my devotion to the Lord. Eternity is now mine, but not bliss. I shall live as long as a voivod, or as long as a voivod is pleased with me, or as long as a voivod is pleased to defile me. Heavenly bliss is not to be my lot, only empty torment. Yet still I dare to hope. Still I live.
Oh, Anezka.
Okay, that's actually a very disgusting concept for that head to move from the wall like that. It has like a tentacle spine almost, and the sound is sickening as well. So overall the game gets a plus for that.
I have lived for 50 years. All I loved are dead and gone. My beloved Christoph has perished in the fall of Visserad. His sacrifice has preserved innocence in the world, and so I rejoice. But my suffering grows with each passing night. The voivod takes great delight in seeing me rise with fresh hope, for it means he may once again drag me down. Should I surrender all hope and break as Libussa is broken, his pleasure would be at an end. Yet I will not abandon my hope, even though such hope fills his empty heart with glee, as it fills mine with pain.
I cannot bear it.
Okay, that's thoroughly disgusting, and I love it. I love the sound. I love the way it moves. It like slithers almost like a snake out of that wall. And as I said, the sound effect is great as well.
For more than 200 years, I have suffered every possible form of humiliation and defilement. I have fallen from the chaste and inviolate woman I once was, yet I have borne it all with hope in my heart. But now I am sinking into the murky depths, and the last whisper of hope in me is fading like the final bubbles of breath from a drowning woman. As we grow close to the day of his resurrection, Vukodlak has found the only defilement I cannot bear. He has decreed that I inflict defilement on others by binding innocent men and women into the walls of his accursed Cathedral of Flesh. His power compels me, and I cannot resist a direct command. I can endure my own degradation, but I cannot abide to befoul others. I fear I shall shatter like glass.
My poor, poor Anezka. This is my doing. Every humiliation she suffers is on my head.
Christoph, you can't blame yourself for the choices she made.
Can't I though? I kind of feel like I can, cause to be honest, I started sort of hitting on her. I definitely encouraged her to possibly break her vows with me, because, you know, I was sort of leading her on is not a correct term, is it? Because that would imply I had no intention to actually, you know, fulfill that relationship, which I had, you know, Christoph had, but then they were never intended to do that within the scopes of both her, you know, her vows of chastity as a nun and Christoph's overall approach to life as a Christian devout man. You know, he was not supposed, even if she was just a regular woman, they would have to marry first for it to be, you know, not sinful. So I feel like it was kind of my fault that she fell for me, because I definitely encouraged that, and obviously then she died because of that. Well, died, I guess she's a ghoul, but she was captured because of that, because she went looking for me. And also that's also my fault again, because I came to visit her when I already turned into a vampire. So I gave her even more reason to get involved.
Silence.
It is 2 centuries and a half after Vukodlak took me, and his resurrection draws nigh. He now demands that I surrender the final shreds of my honor and perform evil acts of my own volition. I cannot defy my master's command that I defile others, and when I resist him, my poor body carries out his tasks against my will, like a puppet. It is driving me mad. So I must change. Rather than resist the evil I am compelled to do, I now embrace it and perform my tasks with zeal. The master favors me, and as I embrace his evil, he gives me greater power. I have been Libussa's equal since my arrival. Now shall I take over her duties, gladly trading the final measure of my innocence for control over the voivod's worldly affairs. 'Tis the only way.
Oh no! She gave up! I'm so sorry, Christoph. Christoph, are you okay?
I mourn for her soul.
I have now lived more than 300 years past my natural lifespan. I have committed atrocities beyond all imagining, but my plan has succeeded. Though Vukodlak has extraordinary power, his exile from the world makes him weak. He must act through Libussa, who wields great power within our haven. But in just a few years I have usurped all of Libussa's power and left her a wretched outcast in the Cathedral of Flesh she helped build. Long ago the voivod stripped her of her soul and gave her power in exchange. Now that I have taken away that power, she is a pitiable creature indeed. She has no place here, yet she cannot leave. I would lament her fate, but I have no tears to shed, even for myself, for Resurrection Day draws nigh.
That gives me the creeps. This is supposed to be the purest woman in the world?
Lily, I think you should really zip it.
I'm only trying to help Christoph get over...
Zip it!
You're right. Christoph, I'm so sorry. You must be feeling awful. I wish I could...
My feelings be damned. Tonight, we slaughter every denizen of this foul place, or die in the attempt.
On the eve of his resurrection, Vukodlak bade us slaughter the Premisel leaders, even as they began the ritual that would raise him from torpor. I have learned well the lessons of corruption, for I have turned my hand to the corruption of the Voivod's resurrection. In the guise of offering wise counsel to Vukodlak, I poison his heart against those who could speed his resurrection. I accuse the faithful of disloyalty. I accuse the powerful of dangerous ambition. I praise the weak and ineffectual, like the merchant toad Orsi, as obedient servants. Vukodlak's fear of losing power is far greater than his hope of gaining new power, and so he believes every doubt I whisper in his ear. And so he crushed his own resurrection.
Wow. She sacrificed her innocence to stop Vukodlak.
I guess that's a... Well, I will listen to the rest of the disembodied heads and then I will comment on that.
Vukodlak's rage is implacable. His resurrection has failed so often that he blames all the Tzimisce of Europe. He desires to move our entire Cathedral of Flesh to the new world where we may begin again. This vast undertaking will involve many shipments of native soil. I am well pleased, for this foolish migration shall take at least a century and further postpone his resurrection. Alas, I fear I can no longer prevent the Voivod's awakening. Lord Vukodlak has gained great power from the fear and apprehension afoot in the world on the eve of the new millennium. These fears feed him, and despite my greatest efforts, his resurrection is now inescapable. There are none who can help me. I can only hope against hope for the return of the one man Vukodlak fears. I pray that God restores Christoph.
Okay, so I feel like that is a compelling enough plot point. It's just rather underdeveloped because you just have a bunch of those heads spouting dialogue at you. But basically, I guess the point is that she. It's a bit of a paradox, isn't it? Because she sank deeper into corruption, sort of quasi-willingly, as a ploy to lower Vukodlak's defenses and to lower his level of distrust towards her. Basically, she wanted to ingratiate herself within his service and to then use that newfound power to sort of subvert him in a small way along the way so that he wouldn't be resurrected too fast. So I guess it's like she wagered her own innocence and her own immortal soul against the chance to stop him, because if she stayed defiant all the time, then he would have just tortured her all the time, and she would never have any kind of, autonomy, any kind of way to actually act on her own. So, as I said, it is a compelling enough plot point, but it's rather underdeveloped, to be honest, as are all of the plot points in this game, and this game overall. But I will talk more about my general feelings once I end it, which I suppose it's not going to be far now. Let's continue. I presume I will have to fight him again. Ah, that's Libussa again.
Come with me quickly. I can help you.
Why should I enter thy trap, servant of the fiend?
Please, for Anezka. She says that if you would have hope even when your cause is lost, you should follow me.
What reason would she have to help me? Obviously, she is bound to Vukodlak as well, so if he dies, I presume she dies as well. And again, what reason would she have to help Anezka specifically? I suppose she must hate her quite a lot, because Anezka has, at least at face value, usurped the space that Libussa had at the side of Vukodlak, so I don't think I will follow her.
Nay, thou art defiled and damned. Get thee behind me.
Unless I have no choice, which is hilarious, because I will have to eat my words like 20 seconds after speaking them.
Come with me quickly. I can help you.
Why should I?
Okay,
Nay.
this is hilarious because I don't think there is another way to go. It doesn't look like it. I cannot click on anything else. So why does the game even give me an option? I don't understand that. Okay, that's kind of stupid, but...
I go, but I go with my sword at thy back.
Go now. There is little time. Destroy him and topple this vile cathedral. Now, my dark love. I give you thanks for allowing me to serve you all these years, watching over your sweetly cruel visage in torpor. My defilement is complete.
Okay. Well, let's go. Hopefully I will get some kind of help in the final battle, because otherwise I'm not sure if I can even defeat him. As you saw, I had a lot of trouble the first time. Where am I even going?
You survived my hosts. Impressive, young crusader. You have earned something few have seen. Your final vision showed me that of my true form. Watch as I reveal the absolute power of the Bible.
Okay. I have a feeling this is going to be difficult and possibly annoying. It's not like I have much choice about what to do.
The beast awakens. Abyss with me.
Okay, that's a bit ridiculous. And she's still bugged. Yeah, I'm not seeing that. not sure I can do it. Let's see the point here already. I need to think about it. Because that's the thing, because nobody else can do it. I'm going to presume it's literally the game. Yes, it is way. Just put it as a roll. Once I get into it, I think it scares me. Okay, at least I somehow devised a way to move the scrolls, so I can give them to somebody else. Although it doesn't help me as much, because to use them I would have to be alive in the first place. But you know, it's something. I have like 30 of them or something.
My burdens prevent further cumbrance.
It's a better advantage than no advantage, I guess. Okay, I can't identify that because I don't have the skill, unless I do have the scroll on Christoph, maybe. Nope. Well, it's probably not worse than a baseball bat, so I will give it to him. Let's try again.
I am weak with lack of precious blood.
Okay, I actually made some decent progress, so I'm going to save on this slot. I'd say he's, judging from the color, he's probably somewhere around half health. Which is better than I ever did before. Okay, we're slowly getting there. I was starting to lose hope, actually. You know, it would be supremely annoying to be unable to finish the game at the point of being at the last boss fight and failing them. But it's actually totally feasible in some of those older games. And I was already kind of fearing it might be the case here as well.
Go to her, Kristoff.
Now that the fiend is no more, my unnatural power dissolves. I fear for my soul after my defilement, after all that I have done. But I rejoice that my last sight shall be thee. I only pray that one day I may attain thy forgiveness.
I grant all forgiveness, though thou art blameless and pure in mine eyes.
Then death finds me in joy and rapture.
Anezka, my accursed soul trembles to utter these selfish, blasphemous words. But thou need not die if thou wouldst endure.
Thou would still have me, Kristoff? I scarcely dared hope.
Thy love has redeemed me across 1,000 years. I would that I could offer salvation in return, but I have none to give, only damnation.
Damnation with thee would be sweet as salvation. Let thy love cast me down and raise me up forever. Take me, my love.
Okay, so that was Vampire the Masquerade Redemption. That deep sigh is probably the best conclusion, the best summary of my thoughts on this game. I didn't enjoy it that much. I really think it was mostly dreadfully boring, and it was the way it was constructed, the way the things they put impact on were totally strange to me, and they seemed like an absolute waste of the rich lore and the setting of the World of Darkness. Because let me tell you, if you're making an RPG, well, actually if you're making an RPG period, then having literal dungeons with hundreds of enemies and nothing else to do in them but fighting is probably a bad idea. Most likely is a bad idea. Absolutely, it's a bad idea. But if you're making an RPG in the World of Darkness, which has very rich lore, you know, of the different clans and the stories and the different characters and like the different philosophies, the paths of enlightenment and all that, and there was nothing. I was in the headquarters of the clan Tremere. I was in the House of Sorcery, and there was nothing there except for you know, NPCs to fight over and over and over again. There was no flavor texts. There was no like ancient books of lore or books of magic to read. There was no fun puzzles, you know, magical puzzles or like horrible magical experiments to explore. There was nothing but constant fighting, and I did not enjoy that. I wasn't expecting that ratio of combat to other things, and I definitely think this game felt like a grind. It felt like a hack and slash game. It felt like I was playing Diablo, which actually playing Diablo was much more fun for me when I did that. So that's not even that. It was like as if I was playing Diablo but worse. So like the way this game was designed, it baffles me. For example, the fact that there was pretty much no side quests. No, actually there were literally no side quests. You just had a linear path, and every single location that existed in the world you had to visit as part of the main plot. So there was no sense of exploration, no sense of finding something hidden, no sense of accomplishment, because you had to do all those things in order, no less. There was no variation. So the story in itself was kind of okay. I don't have that many gripes with it. In fact, if I would say what I enjoyed, I would say I kind of enjoyed Christoph as a character. I enjoyed how kind of dorky he was in his attachment to Anezka and his professing of eternal love after knowing her for 2 weeks, and also all his speeches about faith and his soul being damned. I did kind of dig that, actually. So Christoph was okay, and the story generally was okay-ish, but my problem with the story is that the characters were not particularly interesting, most of them, and in fact some of them seem to have disappeared without, for example, Archbishop Giza, right? I was expecting him to play a big role in the story, what with the hints of him being corrupt and him possibly coveting Anezka as well, but he disappeared from the story after like the first hour, which was a little bit weird. But again, the story was not bad, but the problem with it is it wasn't good enough to justify the mindless torture slog of combat for hours upon hours upon hours with multiple level dungeons, because let me reiterate again, I find it utterly baffling how there was nothing to do in those locations. They had like 3 or 4 levels of like a stronghold of your enemies, and there was nothing in there but fighting over and over and over again. Even if the fighting was well done, I would still probably find it boring. I don't play games necessarily. I know that's a bit absurd maybe to many of you, but I don't play video games necessarily to experience gripping gameplay. If I wanted perfect gameplay, I would go and play chess. I play video games to immerse myself in a different world, to feel the atmosphere of that world, and to feel, you know, what it has to offer narratively speaking. So even if the combat was good, I would probably not enjoy this in that magnitude. But the problem is, it wasn't even good, in my opinion. It was like it wasn't horrible or anything. It worked more or less the way I wanted it to most of the time, but it wasn't super interesting to go through. So I was really bored with it after a while, and really there's not much in this game that redeems it in any way. I guess I liked the voice acting most of the time. As I said, I like Christoph as a character overall, and some of his dialogue options. What else? The music was okay at times, although nowhere near as good as in Bloodlines. And overall, if this was my first introduction to Vampire the Masquerade or to the World of Darkness, then I might have not been interested in trying anything else, because sure, there are traces of this rich lore. You hear about the different clans and all that, but there is so much mindless combat in this game that it might leave you with an impression that this setting is about slaughtering hundreds upon hundreds of enemies, which couldn't be farther away from the truth. So, in a way, I'm very glad I played Bloodlines first, and I consider Bloodlines to be infinitely better than this game. This game was average and at times bad. I would say it was slightly below average to me in what it brought to the table and how it presented it. I am really tired now because it's rather what's the word? It's rather late, I wanted to finish because I was very frustrated with Vukodlak there at the end, and I didn't want to stop in the middle of fighting him. Maybe I will write something more, like a more detailed review. If I do, then I'm going to pin it in a pinned comment underneath this video, and if I don't, then I guess my final words is on Vampire the Masquerade Redemption are: it was painfully bland and boring, and I actually didn't enjoy myself very much. So overall, I wouldn't say I recommend this game necessarily. I am a big fan of the World of Darkness, and I am a big fan of RPGs, and in neither of those categories did this game really fulfill my expectations. So well, at least I'm done. So that's all for this one, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.